All right, thank you. Hi, you guys. This is KJ, and I am back. And today we're talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 3. Sorry, I was a little bit late and behind, but I just had to get in together. I started back working. So let's just go ahead and get into this episode, shall we? The first thing we see here is Portia, Phaedra, and Sheree meeting up for food and talking about, Phaedra meeting up with, talking about Phaedra meeting up with Kenya and Phaedra and her normal banter, camel toe and all. Y'all know how Phaedra is. Kenya's happy with her, and she's telling them that she met up with Kenya, and Kenya's really happy with some D in her life, and they do a little shade about that. Kenya and Matt are kind of working out and playing or whatever, and Kenya seems happy. They've been back on for about 2 weeks now, talking about, she's got somebody sane in her life finally being around these girls, but we're not going to call Matt sane just yet. We're going to see how that play out. Anyway, but Matt is not, she's telling Matt basically how her and Sheree argued, and meanwhile she's telling the girls are, Sheree is telling the girls about the same argument. And how Kenya's not really living in that house, and her house can't be possibly still really living in that house, and her house is not in her mama's name, and Kenya is a hoe and not her, and all this stuff, based on the argument that they had last week. Phaedra say maybe she is a groundhog, talking about her living in that house. I assume she's talking about living in dirt and underground. That was too funny. I hollered. And then Portia was like, maybe how her and Matt having sex, with a hazmat on. They just really just cracking jokes and roasting her about, because, as Kenya. Anyway, Matt brings up the meeting the family and the family reunion, and Kenya feels like it's a big deal because, they have been on a rocky road, but meeting the family is going to be a test of their relationship. So we go over to Candy, and basically Chris Kelly comes over, and Chris Kelly is the girlfriend of Block, who's also an artist. I've never heard of her, but whatever. She's also an artist and Block's girlfriend. So, but Candy just shocked to see her coming in. This is her, like I said, Block's baby, which is her baby daddy's girlfriend, and they sit and discuss his relationship with Riley. And she tells that, they need to be closer, blah, blah, blah. She wants, him and Riley to have a better relationship, and Riley is kind of over her dad not being there, and Candy tells her that, but Riley is looking a lot better, I must say. She's been looking a lot cuter, she's glowing up, she's losing a little weight, she's looking better. So she just wants Riley and Block to have a better relationship, the girlfriend does, and Candy can't stand him because of how he has been as a father, so, she just kind of rolling her eyes, but whatever. Candy say thanks, but no offense, Block is a deadbeat, and that just is what it is. Todd basically tells her that, Riley does need to have a dad in her life. Him and his daughter were estranged for a while, I think, around 9 or 10 years old, something like that. So he feels like, the decision is Riley's regarding having a relationship with her father. We go over to Kenya and Matt. They head out for the reunion. Kenya hates road trips, so she bring the dogs with them, and basically they just talking and she complaining the whole time on the road trip. Sheree and Bob meet up to talk about nothing, really. It seemed like they're just trying to be friends for the show, but they seem to have a sarcastic, fun relationship, so it is what it is on that. Cynthia meets up with her mom and her sister, and they talk about the situation with Peter, and her mama says that she has been through it, and she's just trying to coax her and get her through everything, and Cynthia says that she does miss Peter, but sometimes things just don't work out, and that's true, sometimes things just don't work out, so I definitely understand that. Portia wants to have a baby, y'all. So Portia playing with her ex, I think his name was Todd. He kind of cute or whatever, but she wants to make him baby daddy if possible. She talking to Phaedra about it, and Phaedra don't think that's the best idea and wants better for Portia. Want Portia to have a husband in the family, Portia's like, I'm not just going to get married again just for having a baby, just for the sake of it. So Portia wants to have a baby and have a baby nump, not a real thing, but she is willing to co-parent basically up front and sign the papers or whatever. I have actually been propositioned before on that, and I declined, but I do know what that's like. Whatever. Kenya meets up with the family, and her mom and dad seem to like her, but the sister, not so much. The sister is kind of screw-faced, and she asks Kenya if she a cougar, and Kenya is handling it pretty well, but the sister is kind of, going strong. Candy has the convo with Riley, and Riley is not here for her dad sending his girlfriend basically, to kind of mend their relationship. So in discussion for that, Riley was just like void by whatever. Portia meet up with Todd, the ex, and tells him about being a possible baby daddy. So he said, I can't do baby daddy, but I can possibly be your boyfriend. So let's work something out. He gonna try to date or whatever. And I think that's cute. They seem like a cute little couple, and it's always be good to be friends first. So that's a plus. Kenya is having fun at the reunion, dancing and everything, mingling with the family. And Matt and her mom, Kenya is glad to see that Matt's mom is embracing her, because that's something that her mom never did. So she's just glad to see that she's trying to fit in with the family. The sister is going to go ahead and just give in and let bygones be bygones with Kenya, and just see how she make her brother happy. Candy and Sheree meet up for the workout, and I'm gonna say, y'all, these ladies look good to be just had a baby. Sheree always look good anyway, but I need to get into the exercise myself, no lie. Anyway, Candy talks to Sheree about her, frustrations with Block and being a deadbeat dad, and that his girlfriend came to try to mend, him and Riley's relationship. So we finally get to see Block. Lena and Ariel are there to basically smooth over any kind of drama that might lead. She said, Candy's my girl, so she's trying to Lena is trying to talk, for Candy in a sense, but on a calm note, just kind of coming from Candy's point of view, or Candy, or any baby mama side, you know what I'm saying? And get clarity. Block says it's Candy's fault, Candy says Block fault. Y'all know how that go. The truth is, it's in Riley. I always say, once the child is of age, it will kind of be up to them. They have more understanding of what's going on and who to blame, technically. So you can't always blame the parents forever. Eventually, the child has a mind of their own. And this is the situation with Riley. Riley is basically can see what went going on. She kind of put it together. And she know her daddy ain't trying to do nothing for real. So that's why she choosing not to go there with him. So anyway, she was just talking about, talking all this to Phaedra. She was talking about all this to Portia. She was getting, not Portia, what's the girl name? Sheree. She was getting emotional and everything. And Sheree was understanding because her and Bob have gone through a situation similar. Anyway, Portia actually used to date Block, of all things. Side out on that, whatever. But Candy's really hurt behind it. And Block's, Sheree feels people can change. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, yeah, that was pretty much the episode, y'all. I tried to make it quick. I didn't come on camera because I am at work. So I'm just trying to get these out. I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace.